Yo guys, what's up? It's Razor here, and today we just dropped some new information on some Zhongli changes. So basically, blah blah blah, we gotten some updates, we understand that people like Zhongli and realized he wasn't as good as people wanted, so we made some changes, and we're planning to put these in 1.3, blah yada yada yada. And then these are not final, these are just tentative changes. They're changing his second passive, which is, it used to increase his ult damage by 33% of his HP. Now they're adding on the effects of damage dealt by his attacks. This includes normal charge and plunge attack damage will be increased by 1.39% of his max HP. We just did a quick calculation. Assuming you went all balls deep on your HP stat, you'll roughly have it, let's just say you had 40,000 HP. We just plugged it in a Google calculator. You're getting a 556 damage increase. That's not that big. That's not that big at all, in my opinion. It's like the difference is very minor. Like, it's not that huge. And pretty much if you're gonna use Zhongli as support anyway, this doesn't really matter for his kit. Basically just wanting to get him to have shield up, not necessarily hitting with weak normals. That's not really that great. So not great change on this one. Another change they did is the damage of the stone steel will do more damage based off 1.9% of his max HP. We could just change that to 1.9. So 1.9. 760 damage increase. I mean, it's not terrible. It's okay. But Stone Steel with pretty much garbage damage anyway. Like, almost every other skill does more damage. The only purpose the steel has to offer is just helping you generate crystals. And it's really weak anyway. I'm sure Albedo has a better way of generating these crystallized than Zhongli. It's not that great of a change in my opinion. Another mediocre change. However, and then also they kept the original change. They kept the original effect of the skill. So there you go, it's added right there. And the second change they added is now when you hold it, you no longer if you don't have C1 on Zhongli, you can basically now hold and get both effects at the same time. Get the shield and the steel, and also you have a interruption resistance to the shield. And this is actually really kind of big for him, because one of the problems that he had is that you just sit there for 2 seconds holding this ability and you could just get slapped by, the Electro Fatui and just get smacked out, or a miniature or whatever, and just like you just lost all your time and did absolutely nothing. So this is a good change. One bad side I don't really like is that you're literally still not generating any energy with this. And he's again going to have that energy recharge problem where he's going to take he has a charge of 40, but it feels more like a charge of 80 because you have to build him like he has a charge of 80, because it's really slow the rate at which he gains energy. Again, the shield Jade shield AoE, number of targets, blah blah. That's the original effect, and then causes charge, and then it creates. All it does is create. It also creates the stone steel. So now you no longer have to tap E and hold, wait and hold. Now you can just hold. So there you go on that. And they changed the effects of the Jade shield. So now this is overall for Geo shield. So it helps you against physical damage and all elemental damage absorption. This is a good change. The shield will actually be somewhat valuable. I'm still probably going to end up just going with crystallized shields, honestly, because I just don't want to stack like 3 billion shields at once. And I'm most likely still going to use Albedo, but this is a good change, I guess, if you want to take advantage of shields with the new Geo Resonance increase. And these effects are pretty much the same. And then I already discussed this interruption resistance to the hold mode. And moving on to the final buff, which is the Geo Resonance buff, which is this is the biggest buff of all of them, honestly. The original effect was when your increase a resistance interruption, so no longer you're going to get slapped. It's harder for you to get slapped around and moved around. And when you're protected by a shield, increases your attack damage by 15%. A lot of people got this wrong initially, so basically this attack damage is your overall attack. So the total attack, including artifacts and all that stuff, not your base, which is the difference between this and the Pyro. But keep in mind, you also have to have a shield. And also, now the new effect is increases the shield strength by 15%, which is very nice. And then while you're protected by a shield, you have the following characteristics. Your damage dealt will be increased by 15%. This is completely different from this because this is factoring in everything. So your whole overall damage is increased by 1.15. It's being multiplied by 1.15. And not like your attack. This is huge. So the crits and your elemental skills and everything. It's mathematically, this will give you a much better increase than this. And also dealing damage to enemies will also decrease their Geo Resonance resistance. So basically, with this Resonance buff, they didn't really buff Zhongli as much as they buffed other Geo characters that actually deal good Geo damage or offer good Geo benefits. Like, Ningguang got like a huge buff with this. All you gotta do is just pop in, and you don't even need Zhongli for this. You can just go with something like, Noelle, or you can get like a billion crystallized bonuses with Albedo, so not necessarily a buff to Zhongli at all. Zhongli will basically help you get the shield up for a decent amount of time, so if he will help, I guess, in this regard, but pretty much a win for Ningguang, this update with this change, in my opinion right now, and possibly even Albedo. So we'll see how this ends up when we test it, when it gets put out in 1.3, but until then, we're stuck with a pretty bad character. And then again, they changed Geo Shield. So basically, the only way you're gonna get this Geo Shield is by Zhongli through his pillar, through the hold, or if you have C2, his ult to have the shield up, the Jade Shield, and the Noelle's elemental skill. And so now they changed it from Geo damage absorption. This shield is completely useless, pretty much for 90% of the fights, to actually being decent. So 50% physical damage reduction and elemental damage absorption, which is pretty freaking powerful because it's all elements and not just one. So good change. Unfortunately, only 2 characters have this, and I would rather just use Noelle versus Zhongli, but it's up to you, you know. But they basically said, you know, we hope that this character will continue to be useful to characters, and hope that this makes Geo stronger. It's okay. I still think other archetypes will end up being stronger gameplay-wise, just to get more damage, and that other characters that generate shields are going to have a better job and be more versatile than this. But, you know, it's still a good change nonetheless. I'm happy that Geo got some changes, and yeah, I can't wait to try these out in 1.3 when it launches, and hopefully 1.3 beta testers can offer suggestions that maybe even make him better than these current buffs, because the Zhongli buffs are like, they exist. They're okay. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for listening to another video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.